The opportunity, because I know this is a new thing for you. Have you gotten the opportunity to be the live director of anything?
Yeah, I've been live directing with Wisdom for a couple months now, but
Okay.
we just made it into a long time kind of, I work for them situation.
Okay, so maybe
Um,
you're doing like a 1099 contract type of thing, and it transitioned into more full time.
yep, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, will you talk about that a little bit too? Because I think that's something that people need to understand a little bit too with the gaming industry is that it's not always just about like getting hired by company A or getting hired by company B, and like sometimes you have to do contract work. And could you talk about some of the pros and cons for being contract?
Yeah. Pro. So before I get into pros and cons, just the last thing you will do in esports is get a full time job. Once
Mm,
you've gotten there, that's when you're kind of like in the safe spot.
yeah.
Contracting and freelancing composed most of my esports career.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be ready for that.
Okay, I'm going
The
to
cons,
interject really quick. I loved when Gilly was talking about being on ESPN and thinking, "Ooh, I hope I have a job next week." you know.
dude, that's so true. That like feeling is so weird and so uncomfortable, and that's by far the hardest thing I had to deal with in esports is
mm,
not knowing if I would have a job next week.
right.
That I would put at the very top of the cons. There's no job security. Even events that are going on for weeks at a time, like it could turn out that they don't think you're right for the position, which often happens, and it's not like anybody's fault, but rather just people trying to produce the best show. And if they think someone else is a better fit, then they're going to go with them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're bad or anything, but you need to be prepared to be okay with not being the best,
Mm,
which was very hard for me as somebody who is a competitive player of Battle Right.
mm-hmm.
Along with being a competitive player, is wanting to be the best, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to be ready for competition. There are going to be other people that want your jobs, and there are going to be other people that are likely better at your jobs. You're going to have to be comfortable with job security not really being there completely.
Mm,
And those two things are really rough. That's what I struggled with the most. On the plus side, you get to schedule yourself. If
yeah.
you decide you want a week off and you just made like $6,000 the last month, you can just be like, I'm just gonna chill. I don't want to go do that gig this week.
Yep. I
Um,
love the gig mentality.
yeah, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yep.
It's both incredibly relaxing and very anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
an enigma. Um, Another thing that people really need to think about: if you're freelancing, you're going to have to do your own taxes. It's
Oh
not as
yeah, that's a
simple
great
as
point.
a workplace filling out your taxes. You're going to have to take out like a third of your day rate that day. A standard day rate in an in studio position is around $250 $300. I say that just because I don't want people being ripped off. If
Mm,
you're getting offered a job for $100, don't take it. Not worth it. Um, but you're going to have to take a third of that and recognize it's for taxes. So if you made $300, like you just have to kind of protect 75 or 100.
yep. Yeah. I think that's a really good point to make. I had a friend who got into a sales position for like uh what's man, I can't think of it. Not Verizon. What's the yellow one that does phones?
Sprint.
Sprint. Thank you. He got into a sales position for Sprint where he was like traveling the world selling like package plans to corporations, not like just like a dude in there with a phone.
Right, right.
And he was making like mad money. He was making like $9,000 a month, but he would only work like 2.5 weeks a month. And
That is incredible.
but he didn't know that he didn't realize he was 1099. And then tax season came, and boy, he got raked over the coals hard.
Oh man,
And
yeah, that's really
he
rough.
wasn't prepared for it, and so he
Yeah.
had to take out debt to pay his taxes, and then spent like years paying that back. So, like seriously, this is something you do have to think about if you get contract jobs. If you end up being 1099, that's often what they'll call it, or doing freelance work. I think those are probably like the three big ways of describing that. But yeah, got
Yeah.
to be ready for that.
Yes. You if you aren't ready, like just know you have to either have the money on hand or be ready to pay a long-term bill. For example, my first year in esports, I didn't realize the severity of the tax situation, which is why I bring it up now, because I had to like live that.
Mm-hmm.
So for like the next year and a half, 2 years, I was paying like $250 a month just trying to pay it off. So You
Yep.
can't get away from it. Taxes will cost a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to bring up.